Well, as many of you know, we do a backstage show here for our members. It's just the three of us talking about what we're going to talk about. And today, as we were recording our backstage show, coming to us live was Governor Andrew Cuomo's first stop on the apology tour that he'll be making during the course of the next several weeks regarding serious allegations of sexual abuse. And I wanted to talk about his actual response because, to me, it was right on formula. It was absolutely right on the money. Every single box checked off and so on. There's the victim box. There's the I didn't say what they thought I said box. There's the no, I touch people just out of affection. I touch everybody that way box. Scott's got an example of something that I won't steal from him. There was the I'm poor and misunderstood box. There's the I'm too generous and too kind for my own understanding. I'm too nice of a person, too much of a people person box. There's the apology, even though I didn't do anything box. There's every single thing there. And it was fun to watch because it's always fun to watch when Democratic politicians are caught so red-handed that they're forced to conform to their own political philosophy. Now, I was taking a few quick notes here during the actual speech. He did reference, as you know, Andrew Cuomo's brother, Chris Cuomo, is a CNN commentator, and Chris has been kind of nutty too. And Andrew Cuomo kind of used the family defense here. I'm just checking from my notes here again. I think this is a direct quote. He started his speech by saying, "Dear kindly New York voter, you got to understand, it's just our bringing up key that gets us out of hand. Our mother was a junkie. Our father was a drunk. Golly, Moses, naturally we're punks." And then he went on to say, "I'm disturbed, we're disturbed, we're disturbed, we're the most disturbed, like we're psychologically disturbed." And he closed, I think, by reference to his father, of course, Mario Cuomo, the leader of the Klan. And in his defense for this inappropriate behavior, he finished his initial remarks by saying, "My father is a bastard. My mom's an SOB. My grandpa's always plastered. My grandma pushes tea. My sister wears a mustache. My brother wears a dress. Goodness gracious, that's why I'm a mess." Scott, did you buy the "it's not really my fault, I'm a victim of a social disease, I'm too generous for my own good"? I often counsel people about sexual abuse issues, and I'll often touch them just to show them how empathetic I am. The whole thing. Did you buy any of this? Golly, Oski. That's why I'm a mess.
You know, where is Officer Krupke when you need him?
He is obviously not in the Attorney General's office.
No.
That much we know for sure from your episode on this very subject.
I think the Attorney General is suggesting that maybe he works for the Albany Police Department, who will take care of all of this. I was touching going in and out. Excuse me, I shouldn't use the word touching with regard to Andrew Cuomo, but I was going in and out of the speech that he was giving and just marveling at the contrast between the essentially sexual harassment predator portrayed by the 165-page report from the Attorney General's office and that the governor wanted to portray for himself. But there's an interesting thing here, because you will see when allegations are made against famous politicians, especially very powerful politicians, somebody in a position of being, the governor of, oh, by the way, he's not only the governor of New York, he's actually the chairman of the Governors Association. So he's the guy who's like the nominal head of all U.S. governors.
He's America's governor.
He is America's governor. And usually you find people, especially even with serious charges like this, you would find colleagues and other associates and partisans saying things like, well, these are very serious charges. We need to take these into account. We need to make sure there's a full investigation. We need to presume innocence until proven otherwise and stuff like that. That's not what we're seeing, at least in the early reports. They had a New York State legislator on there who, when asked whether the governor should resign, didn't mince words and just said, yes, we said this a while ago. He doesn't have a lot of friends in the legislature. The mayor of New York City is not his friend. Apparently, the president of the United States, although they have a long history of their families together, going back to his dad and Joe Biden himself, who's the age of his dad.
Various bootleggers.
There are connections there, but there's nobody leaping to the fore to say, oh, this man deserves his day in court. Even on the mainstream media talk shows on CNN and MSNBC, everybody I heard talking about it was saying, you should believe these women. These women are credible witnesses. These special investigators are credible, unbiased people, despite what the governor says. What's the future for this governor? Nobody is stepping forward to say, hey, give the guy a chance. So no matter what the governor says about himself, he is not surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses who are coming to his defense. And if you are the only one testifying to your righteousness and you've treated people like dirt for many years and thought that you were the most powerful person and most important person in the universe, you're going to find yourself all alone. So I doubt that he'll ever resign. I believe that the legislature will probably go ahead with impeachment charges, and there may be public pressure to have him removed from office. But this speech did not wipe the slate clean or make anybody think, oh, yeah, the guy legitimately put his hand on that woman's breast because he was concerned that she might have a lump.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of that kind of testing going around in the governor's office.
Freelance.
After hours. Steve, it's not just what he said, obviously. What he said was far, far less. I'm a master of these kind of things. This is my wheelhouse. What he said was not nearly as important as how he said it. Now, we had the audio playing. I didn't get to see the picture, but I could hear the terrible hurt in his voice at this outrage that's been perpetrated against him, and the simple astonishment that he could be that something so pure of motive could be so badly misunderstood. Now, a lot of people hear this and they say, well, he obviously seems sincere. So let me just throw this switch for you, Steve. Steve, don't you find it's just kind of unfair that, this guy's, it's just hard for me to talk about. But the idea that somebody would say that he'd committed these acts intentionally. I mean, I'm obviously sorry that somebody misunderstood me in this way, but honestly, I just look. I'm just a people person, Steve. This is just how I behave, and I just wish they'd come to me and said something about it at the time, so we could clear up this misunderstanding. Because I got to tell you, I've been in public service for 40 years. 40 years now. No one has ever leveled charges like this against me before. And frankly, it's hurtful. See how easy it is?
The thing that got me about Cuomo's statement today is the Babylon Bee could run it almost unaltered as satire of what one of these apology speeches could be. The only line I think I might add if I were one of the guys at the Bee would be, I feel just terrible that fondling somebody's breast could be misconstrued as unwanted.
That's awful.
We knew he was a bully. I mean, that's his reputation.
We knew he was a crook. We knew he took baloney. We knew he... Sorry.
But that's been his reputation from the start. He's a bully. He's a tyrant. He threatens people. He is a terrible boss. He humiliates people publicly and all the rest. That's how he runs his governor's mansion. And at this point, he's what, in his third term now? People working there, they knew what they were getting into. And I'm not saying, these women deserved it. Not at all. What I am saying, though, is it's no mystery. It's no mystery that he's a bully. It might be news to some that he's also a serial sexual harasser. And my heart goes out to these women because, as I said on Scott's segment, they were betrayed twice. First by Cuomo for doing these awful things, and then second by the Attorney General for saying, and we're not going to press any charges. I believe all these women. You should believe all these women, but we're not going to press any charges. So they've been betrayed twice. Again, I have nothing but sympathy, and I hope they just sue this guy into absolute oblivion. We'll see what happens. It's going to be a ways down. But back to the topic, which is a sort of the tone, the repulsiveness of this speech. Scott brought up an interesting point, which is that nobody's coming out to defend Cuomo. And it's interesting when you compare him to another serial harasser of women, Bill Clinton. Clinton did not run his office like a tyrant. He was not a bully, but he was a harasser. Maybe even a rapist, but everybody came out to defend Clinton. He was well liked. In fact, I can't remember who it was, some famous feminist author, maybe the head of Now. I can't remember. When the whole Monica Lewinsky scandal broke, she said that she would get down on her knees like Monica did to thank Bill Clinton for protecting Roe versus Wade. This is the kind of defense that Bill Clinton got that nobody is providing Andrew Cuomo. And it's not that the culture has gotten so much more strict or puritanical since the mid-1990s. This tells you what even Democrats think of Andrew Cuomo, that none of them are coming out to defend him. I'm not sure I've seen anything quite like it. The Democrats are very good at rallying, at circling the wagons, and protecting their own. Cuomo's not getting that. So that tells me that today's speech might not have been as effective as he would have liked, especially when he was defending, little office antics, his little morale building games like what's under that skirt. Sit on Santa's lap and tell me the first thing that comes up. And the one that sounds the most innocent of all, that he just was shocked that anyone would be horrified by this, was I think we called it naked party sex time. So really, you add all those together, and
that's easy to misinterpret. I have to agree.
Yeah, what he was trying to foster was a sort of fun-loving environment, and it's really. He himself is the victim that these kind of things were misinterpreted by the women involved.
A couple interesting points here, folks. First of all, have you noticed that when it comes to these real sexual perverts, that I think Bob Packwood is the last exception I can think of, was it 20 years ago now, that all of them are Democrats? I mean, not just Bill Clinton, not just Cuomo, not just Cosby, not just Harvey Weinstein, not just Jeffrey Epstein, all of them. Bill Gates just got himself in the record books for the world's most expensive divorce for exactly this kind of thing. One of the reasons that this appears to be the case is because they know they can get away with it. And when you have that cloak of invisibility, meaning the press isn't going to ask any questions, you tend to get a little drunk with power and do things that you shouldn't be doing in the first place. A second question I have is a little old-fashioned, and this is pure speculation, so this is just a question that I have. And that is, of the women who this crime was committed against, I'm wondering, are any of them married? And I'll tell you why I say that. Because not being a progressive, if somebody did that to my wife, I wouldn't be waiting for the attorney general, and I wouldn't be terribly concerned about the press. I'd be in the governor's office, and I'd be making myself crystal clear. Now, many things in life are worth being arrested for, and some things in life are worth going to jail for. But I would make it exceedingly clear, personally clear, to that individual man that if he did this again, he was going to regret it. And I sometimes wonder if it's that fundamental lack of masculinity and courage and just plain fundamental pride that's missing among these progressives. If there was more of this kind of stuff, I think we wouldn't see so much of it. My main issue with Cuomo's speech and his defense is simply this. He's claiming that he's falsely accused. And I would ask all of you to think about how you would behave if you were falsely accused. I've been falsely accused publicly twice. Once I was accused of inciting murder of Californians because of something I said at a Ted Cruz rally, and once I was accused of being an open racist, and I was accused of both of these things twice. And here's where it gets interesting. On both occasions, the people who I was talking to on my team, both times they said, "We know you were kidding. We know you didn't do it, but we want you to apologize anyway." Now, Andrew apologized. He apologized even though he said he didn't do it. When I was falsely accused twice and people on my team said, "You should apologize for this," I said, "I am not going to apologize for something I did not do, and you can fire me and you can do whatever you want to, but I will never, ever apologize for something I did not do. Well, you said this, and people, if I apologize for this, then that means that it is entirely possible that somebody could have misinterpreted what I said. When it's clearly hyperbole, I will not apologize. Absolutely not. Under any circumstances, do what you have to do, but I am not apologizing for something that I did not do. And for him to come out and apologize for something doesn't have the ring of truth to me personally. I am outraged when I am falsely accused. And if I'd been falsely accused of these crimes, my response would have been, listen, I did not do this. The people making these charges are lying, and I can call them liars because I know they can't prove it, and I know they can't prove it because it didn't happen. End of statement. Goodbye. That's what people do when they're actually innocent. But that's not what we saw, so I think we have our own answer there. I'll just wrap up by my personal, opinion of what I think of Andrew Cuomo. The trouble is he's crazy. The trouble is he drinks. The trouble is he's lazy. The trouble is he stinks. The trouble is he's growing. The trouble is he's grown. Cuomo, we've got troubles of our own. We'll see you next week right here on Right Angle.